We got the worst possible scenario. During the Ubisoft Forward event, Ubisoft announced the release date for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and it's November 17th, 2 days before Cyberpunk 2077, that was of course recently delayed from September to November 19th. So yes, we have to choose between those games, and I don't know about you, but for me, like, switching between two massive worlds never really works. I want to focus on one before moving on to the next. And of course, spending more than $100 on both games in 2 days is not really ideal. So yes, this sucks to say the least, but in this video I mostly want to focus on the impact that this will have on Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed, and also Watch Dogs that is launching 3 weeks before this. I also want to remind you how insane this November is going to be. Like, not every game will survive, that is for sure. So thanks for tuning in to episode 13 of the Sunday Your Game Show, where I discuss the impact of recent gaming trends and make predictions based on research. And yes, I will be answering one of your questions at the end of the video as well. So a like on the video would be really appreciated. And let's go. There's still time to enter my July giveaway for a 2020 game of your choice on your platform of choice, including both Valhalla and Cyberpunk. There's a link in the pinned comment for if you want to participate, and be sure you are a subscriber of the channel as well before you enter. And congrats to Michaela for winning the June giveaway, and she chose Cyberpunk. And she's not alone, because I did a poll that I also did a few weeks ago, but I wanted to do it again right now, because we've now seen Valhalla gameplay, so we can make a better decision. And well, most people will only buy Cyberpunk that week, and I totally get it. We don't get a new CD Projekt Red game that often. It's the first game after the phenomenal Witcher 3, and Cyberpunk also looks super ambitious and awesome in its own right. While for comparison, we will have 4 new Assassin's Creed releases in the time between The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk. But as you know, I'm really excited for Valhalla. I totally think it will be a big step up from Odyssey if they can fix the technical issues in time and also finish some of the features that were now missing in the Ubisoft Forward build that I played. Like in this version, all the weapons just had boring stats. There were 2 different axes with a different look and a different name, but they had the same stats. We should expect a sort of Origins Odyssey perk system, but that was not in this build yet. So hopefully the 4 months that they still have will be enough to fix everything. And that's likely also the reason that we see Valhalla in the same week as Cyberpunk. Like, I'm sure they would have loved to launch this in October, like Origins and Odyssey, but the developers can likely use all the extra time that they can get, also thanks to working from home, of course. And well, November 17th is really the final week that you can launch a 2020 game, because the week after that is Black Friday, and the PlayStation 5 and Series X will not launch in that week or after that week. You don't want to miss that huge sales window. So to be a part of the launch lineup and to also not miss Black Friday as a release, November 20th or 19th is really the final possible launch day for a 2020 game. But yeah, Cyberpunk of course already had November 19th, so that's why Ubisoft likely moved the Valhalla date up by 2 days. October 29th is the launch day for Watch Dogs Legion, and that's a Thursday, and Far Cry 6 launches on February 18th, 2021, so that's also a Thursday. But no, in the week where we get Cyberpunk on Thursday, Valhalla is suddenly on a Tuesday. And also here this final part of the 30-minute gameplay demo that they released, where Philip or Fizz, the quest director, first shared some more insights into the game. And it sounds like this, with Yusuf from the Ubisoft News asking a question.
So Fizz, we're setting up here for what looks like an epic encounter. Tell us exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, so here we're midway through the quest that we're showing for UB Forward. Here we're looking at the assault.
Okay, it seems like they directly speak to each other, so now let's hear the end, because as someone who records a lot of audio myself, you clearly hear that this was recorded some other time.
We've come to the end of our Assassin's Creed Valhalla playthrough. Fizz, thank you so much for joining us. When and where can people play it?
Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be out on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, and is coming to Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PC, and Stadia on November 17th.
Right? Like the quality, the voice, it really sounds like they redid this part, also how he starts the sentence. So I think we can thank CD Projekt Red for giving us Valhalla 2 days earlier than planned. totally seems like they moved the date to at least not launch the same day as Cyberpunk. And by the way, that whole play early thing where Gold Edition owners and up get a Ubisoft game 3 days early is not happening anymore. It was first part of the Watch Dogs Legion editions, but now it has been removed, as Daniel Ahmed also confirms on Twitter. So while it seemed to work because Breakpoint and Odyssey had it and then they wanted to do it for Legion as well, maybe in the end it caused too much of a headache, and it also kinda sucked because they had this divide between people based on the money they spent on a game. So I think overall it's a great decision to go back to one launch day. And again, now everyone got Valhalla 2 days earlier. But I totally think that Cyberpunk will have more of an impact on Assassin's Creed. Like, you would think that Ubisoft is now going to be less aggressive with their microtransactions at launch. And we all know that Cyberpunk will not have any of that. So if you then have articles like this one that we saw around the launch of Odyssey from Polygon, saying that the best feature costs an extra $10 because the XP boost makes the game better, according to them, is not ideal. Like, if the whole narrative around the launch of Valhalla, like we also saw with Breakpoint, is about how bad the microtransactions are, then people will just go to that other major RPG that isn't doing any of that. Like, I'm sure there will be Helix credits in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but maybe they will like add them later, or just not be as aggressive as Odyssey, where we had like 2 packs, the boosters, and other time savers at the launch. I think Ubisoft should just focus on selling us the game first instead of the optional purchases. Valhalla will totally lose sales potential thanks to Cyberpunk, and let's not forget that there are major other games coming out around this time too. I would not be surprised if Call of Duty launches in that same exact November week. It's crazy that we're in mid-July and we still haven't seen the new Call of Duty for this year yet. We had big reports a while back that Treyarch is actually in charge this time, so then they are back on a 2-year schedule instead of the regular 3-year schedule. And I'm sure that working from home also had a significant impact, so maybe they're now having a hard time finishing this game for 2020. So then also the final week of the year that you can basically release a game makes the most sense. Destiny 2's big expansion just got delayed to November 10th. That Mass Effect Remastered trilogy is also likely still coming around that time too. Deathloop from Bethesda is a third-party launch game for the PlayStation 5, and let's not forget the exclusive launch titles as well. Miles Morales, Godfall, or we got Halo on the Xbox side. November is going to be insane. And having Watch Dogs Legion as kind of the kick-off of this crazy period will totally help the game, I think. It looks great after having played it recently, and 3 weeks before Cyberpunk seems enough. Just not sure how long the game will be talked about. They will have a big post-launch plan, but will people care after Valhalla and Cyberpunk have released? Overall though, it all sucks. Like, 2020 started super slow, we had some big games here and there, but to now see everyone fight for attention in November, it just is not ideal. I think overall Valhalla will be fine in the end though. Like, the launch will totally be impacted, but I'm sure that it will sell great over time and throughout 2021. Let's not forget that Odyssey's launch was also pretty soft compared to other AC titles, but it in the end still outpaced the Origin sales in the same window after launch. And a few months ago we learned that the game sold more than 10 million units, and in this sheet we also see Watch Dogs 2, and that game also was not really successful at release. So I'm sure that Ubisoft is looking at this and just thinks, let's just throw these games out there because they will sell over time anyways. And it's also worth noting that Cyberpunk will not have a real next-gen version available when the PlayStation 5 and Series X come out, while Valhalla and Watch Dogs Legion will make better use of the hardware. So Greg, for example, mentions on Twitter that that is the reason why he will start with Valhalla first and then play Cyberpunk later. I want to cover both Valhalla and Cyberpunk, but really 100-hour RPG is already enough, so still some time to figure out how I'm gonna do that. Also curious if maybe both games will show up at that Xbox Series X event that will happen on July 23rd. It promises to be a bigger one than what we had last time, with an hour of like exclusive games, but likely also third party. Like, Valhalla has the Xbox deal, so you would think that it shows up here as well. Maybe we see Dying Light 2 again, Elden Ring. So I will be live reacting to that, and there will be like a countdown timer on the channel at one point. So I hope to see you there. I'm also curious which game you are going to pick. Cyberpunk or Valhalla, same week, or are you going to buy one first and then the other later? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you have a question for me that I then might answer in the next Sunday video, then totally leave it down as well. 2 weeks ago, because yeah, of course, we did not have a Sunday video last week because of Ubisoft Forward, Warren asked, "Hey JorRaptor, what is your daily, weekly schedule like? Because your videos have great production value and it seems like you make at least one daily. Also, how do you fit in your gameplay?" First of all, thanks. Glad that you like the content. We work really hard on it. And I would say that the schedule really depends on the time of the year. Although normally July is super quiet. You had your big E3 week in June, and then in July you're still making content based on the things you've seen here. Not this year. Feels like E3 has been going on for more than a month already, with almost like every week a new event. And then we also had 2 big games with The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima. Well, normally the summer is like super quiet. But yeah, on the other hand, like the rest of 2020 has been pretty quiet so far. So makes sense that it's kind of more busy right now. So the schedule is super varied. I right now cannot really prepare ahead because there's just so much content to make. So whenever I make a video, I publish it immediately. Totally expect more gameplay deep dives on Valhalla, for example. Focus right now is kind of on Ghost of Tsushima. Game just came out, but totally expect more on Valhalla very, very soon. And I'm very happy with my editors. They now make like 3 videos in total, so that really helps, and I want to increase that later this year. And Dennis, you might know him from Twitch. He streams every Friday there, and he also records a lot of gameplay, collects a lot of info. So without them, the quality would not really be possible. And in terms of gameplay time, I really play at the end of the day because it's more satisfying for me to play when I already finish some things, if that makes sense. That's kind of how it works for me. So yeah, the coming week will be maybe a little less crazy, but still very, very cool. More Valhalla content, more Ghost of Tsushima content. The Xbox event, we'll be live reacting to that again. And maybe I will live react to the Ubisoft financials that is happening on July 22nd. I mean, I like doing that. That will be over on Twitch. And I will be recording the new Assassin's Cast episode. Episode 9 of the weekly Assassin's Creed Valhalla podcast is up right now. So I will leave a link to that as well in the description. So subscribe for way more on Valhalla, Cyberpunk, all those awesome games. A like on the video would be super appreciated. And also check out my previous big Valhalla video on the world map and the activities you can expect there if you haven't already. For now, I will speak to you next time, and goodbye.